don't need it yet.
Okay, let's see. Beauty in my eye when I behold her. I long to hold her on the island of her heart. Shipwrecked there together, and I long to ramble never, unless I knew she'd be with me when I part. Beauty in my eye when I behold her. I long to hold her on the island of her heart. Well, I searched the whole world over just to find her. And there's a twinkling in her eyes like the stars. I navigate seas with ease. She decorates so heavenly. I see her shining brightly from afar. I make my way with a constant constellation. She brings me back to the island of her heart. Dark clouds abound, patches batten down. We brace ourselves for the pitch of stormy seas. Ignore the siren's tune, let our two hearts croon a song that calms the storm with harmony. Washed ashore and once more we stay together. With the many seasons now with ease. Where the gods have been appeased, there's just something in the breeze. Grateful for this heart that harbors me. I make my way with a constant constellation. She brings me back to the island of her heart. I long to hold her on the island of her heart. I hope she'll keep me on the island of her heart.
This is one of those festivals where I really feel like this family vibe with Dripping Springs. We stay in touch with each other through the year. We support each other's releases. You know, if somebody's sick, we try to rally around them and let them know that we love them and we miss them, and it's really like a family, man. And maybe that's that added thing, you know, and that takes a certain level of, you know, this isn't a competition kind of thing. It's not really, there's not really a lot of ego there.
It's like a high school reunion with people you actually want to be around.
Everybody really gets along well. I mean, you might not love what the other songwriter does or the style that they do, but you at least appreciate the talent and what they put into it. And I think everybody puts everything they can into it, you know.
It's just like your friends, good camaraderie, a cute little town. The people are super friendly.
It matters to them, you know. They want to be good at what they do. And yeah, I mean that family vibe is big. Because if it was ego, I don't think I could do it or I would appreciate it as much.
It's not very often that we get to play in front of audiences like you guys that are actually listening to what we're doing. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it so much. Thank you, man. It's part of what makes this festival so great. It really does.
The festival thing in general was something that I was hoping to start informing the tours that I was doing. Just going out on the road and not really knowing what the focus was hard. Then I needed to focus. So applying to music festivals, applying to songwriter festivals was like a thing that I wanted to do, because our old band, we were doing music festivals a little bit. And so going solo, I was like, well, that would be a good focus for me, you know, satellite area to get, you know, to base a tour off of, to get there and back. And when I started doing the songwriter festivals, I just realized how much they meant to me, how much they inspired me and kind of humbled me at the same time, you know. And Dripping Springs was, I think I did Smoky Mountain Songwriter Festival, Mississippi Songwriter Festival, and then Dripping Springs was the third one I was able to apply and get into. And I fell in love with it like immediately. It had all the bells and whistles and all the positive things and even more that I didn't know existed with the Songwriter Festival. They just put it together perfectly. Jim, Lori, and Dave were involved at that point. And Jim I met through Mississippi Songwriter Festival, and he's kind of the reason that I got into Dripping Springs, I think. At least I had somebody that knew me well enough to give me a chance, and he gave me the chance, you know. So from that point, I would apply every year and just, you know, fingers crossed that I would get back in. And every year it's gotten better, and more venues have been added, and more sponsors have come on, and more songwriters that just blow me away, you know. It's just, it's continued to grow, kind of beyond what I even imagined it could do, you know. So, yeah, it's a big part of the year. It becomes this thing where it's like, you know, I look forward to it so much, and I just always hope that I get in, you know.
Let's go all the way back home. Kind of a little bit of a commentary on what we've been through the last couple of years. It's been crazy. But I think we're getting there slowly but surely. This feels like it. It's really good. To be in a room playing music to folks that are listening, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. All time for the wishing well. See me change, gone to hell. Heaven knows I told at the lost one. Grieving for the ground we made. It's all been drowned from the light of day. By the flood of the blind, leading the way. Though dark days may be upon us, April rains won't here to stay. The storms we weather will reward us. Just watch for the flowers that lead the way back home, the way back home. Up a river you find the banks have run dry, the water away. Clear that we've been damned from upstream. Some will claim we'll find a course, just follow that well-fed horse. Every begging sparrow might get some hay. Though dark days may be upon us, April rains won't here to stay. The storms we weather will reward us. Just watch for the flowers that lead the way back home, way back home. Oh, just try to find our way back home. Oh, oh, let's hope we find our way back home. Thank you all very much. Cheers.
Yeah, all right. I look beat up, you said? What a day. Oh, I can't do this. That would just be a leprechaun's trick. I'll show you where the pot of gold is. I got secrets. That's the one thing about this tour is kind of return to family I haven't seen in a way. The on-the-road family I haven't seen in about 2 years or so since the COVID shutdown. So it's good to be out on the road.
Good to be back in Panama City again.
I haven't done a tour out west since, well, it's probably the last Dripping Springs Festival. I think the last South by I didn't go to. I didn't want to ever impose on anybody, and I remember one of the tours that I decided to stay was like, I was broke, man. It was just not going well. You know, I was probably playing showcase sets and making nothing, you know, and sleeping on people's, you know. At that time, I wasn't actually sleeping on anybody's floor. At that time, I was just sleeping in my truck, you know. And I needed a night in a bed. And Sandy was just like, come and stay with Mark and I, and open up their house to me, and Not to mention that this show was amazing. You know, it was a great, they're just so welcoming there.
You start meeting people on the road that are like Sandy and Mark and Randy and Sandy.
It's really nice to be part of that. You know, it just, the whole thing makes all the tough spots of being on the road way better, you know.
To me, so this one's called The Road. It's about how the road, I miss being on the road. It's been 2 years. I miss this terribly. This is one of my favorite festivals and things to do, is to come out and meet new people like y'all and perform music to you. And you guys are both so respectful and welcoming, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you. It ain't about the destination, many miles left to go. City, country, and state or nation, the roads are coming, journey home. Set my sights on the horizon. Every night I shoot the moon. Passing days, I realize it's the road ahead to get you through. There's no rest for the weary.
I mean, this one in particular, fortunately, I was able to call on some places that I'd played through that I-10 route, like getting out of Florida and then doing that I-10. The hard part is patching together like the Sundays and the Mondays and the Tuesdays where you're just hoping you can get a gig. Every day on the road without a gig is lost money. You know, you've got food, gas, and lodging to consider, you know. Most of the tour went smooth. San Antonio got crazy.
Lost in a flood, flash flood warnings. We were playing, I was supposed to be playing Frallows.
Frank and Lori own both Frallows and 301, and I figured with the rain I'd probably just be out of a gig. I thought they probably had somebody for Bar 301. I don't know if they did, because they've worked out things with locals before to let me come in and play that place because they know I'm on the road and they need the gigs, and which I never expect for locals to kind of, you know, but to bail on a gig. But it was really cool of Frank to let me keep that gig. You know, I could have lost whatever guarantee that was would have been gone.
The gas money, lodging money, food money is just out. You gotta budget even tighter. It started raining, which was the reason that we moved the show to begin with. And then we started getting flash flood warnings on our phones, and it was raining like crazy, and then power went out in the venue.
Whatever guarantee that was would have been gone. You know, fortunately we had a place to stay, and people that, you know, with Kim and Jason supporting us on the road, it was a big help, but that's always a concern. It's like if you get a weather issue at the outdoor venue and you're on the road, there's a good chance you could lose that gig if it's rain season or something, you know.
You lose the gig, you lose the money, and
not to mention playing the gig and then flash flood warnings going off on the phones. And then fortunately I'm able to make it through the gig, and then the power goes off at the venue. Kim and Jason leave. It's raining like crazy. We're trying to load out rather, and just we're soaked.
And then Kim and Jason were messaging us saying that couldn't go home by the way of the usual GPS ways or maps.
And then, you know, you get the call like, don't follow your GPS. There's a car underwater at the CVS intersection where you would turn to get to our neighborhood.
And the roads are closed. The car, I think, was stuck in the water, and police had the road blocked off. Trying to drive home in the center of the road just to keep from doing that. And
I wish some of that was like filmed, because, you know, driving down the center of the road to try to avoid some of the hydroplane water levels that were, you know, on each side. And man, it was white knuckled. I mean, it was crazy. That was really crazy. I was really worried we were not going to make it. And I've seen videos of flash floods in Texas where you're just like, I don't know what I would do. All my equipment would have been gone. Hopefully we would have made it out alive. That was insane. I was so grateful to get to Kim and Jason. I think I slept really well that night. There was a level of stress that we hadn't really experienced on the road this whole tour.
yeah, Matt and Michelle have been amazing, and 4 or 5 years they've been coming out here. They've been putting me up and inviting me to breakfast in their house, and they'll have family over, and they invite you to their table, and they make you breakfast and put you up in a really nice place, and there's peace out here that it's kind of nice to have, to be able to get away from the chaos of the festival. Sometimes there's so many social things going on and other songwriters, and you're playing your sets, and so to be able to come out here and just kind of decompress from all of that is an important part of this whole thing, for sure. The mayor of Dripping Springs. They're very kind to me here. They really seem to have embraced me and the music that I make, and I'm so grateful for it. You know, it feels really good to come into town that's not your own and be treated that well is a rarity. So it's really, I don't know, maybe it isn't a rarity. You know, I think about every place that we've been. This place is just a little bit more intense because it's been a number of years. They get a different side of my show than I think a lot of other people do, because it's listening room venues. So people are really getting your music in a different way. And then you're playing in the rounds with these people that it's not a competition, but there is this level of like, people are bringing their A+ game to this thing, you know? So you just want to do better and be better and make it a great show for everybody, you know? It just, yeah, the excitement is just kind of through the roof a little bit, you know? It's like reconnecting with family in a lot of ways. The songwriters especially just have this really strong bond, and there's not a lot of ego and not a lot of weirdness with these folks, you know? Everybody's supportive of each other, and we're just trying to all get better and figure out a way to navigate through the waters of, you know, being an independent artist and having your own business and making this work for you the way you need it to, you know. For some reason, as much as I feel welcomed and comfortable, I always get kind of a pit in my stomach on the way to the first showcase. Sometimes I'm like, do I have an ulcer or something like that?
Long haul trucking's never been about it. Driving all from south to north, from west to east. I never do protest if they want to see my manifest, 'cause I'm driving toward a better destiny. The windshield got me thinking about the hazard lights I'm blinking. Times I need that distance just to see. Semi-Tennessee, whenever I'm free to be. Absence makes me fonder than I long to travel yonder. Try not to miss me much. I'll be better when I get back in touch. Full-time living, semi-Tennessee. Well, I'm jumping in a truck again, like a visit with a good old friend. Hey, John, hey, how you been? Are you ready for a long weekend? Picking up a trailer or two. Kingpin that fifth wheel true. Singing the jars, pull up the job, start up the truck with a big old block. Full-time living, semi-Tennessee. Oh, I'm full-time living, semi-Tennessee. Over and out, I'm about to be semi-Tennessee. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I love you. So good to be back. I love y'all. Thank you.
So I look forward to returning to the businesses too, you know, supporting them locally for supporting us. You go and you do your showcase, and then you're thinking about your next showcase, and you're talking to people, and then you got to play again, but you didn't eat and maybe didn't grab a bottle of water for the stage, and like all that stuff is happening. You're like dehydrated and hungry, and your blood sugar's low, and I don't know, it's not a complaint, it's just that it was funny that it's a common thread for a lot of songwriters. We were all talking about the fact that it's like you got to remind yourself to eat and do other things because there's so much going on here. It's easy to forget, you know. Seeing people that the locals that have come out, and one of the ladies who was there was like a couple of years ago had asked me to play Sorry in the Meantime, and I hadn't been in the round of playing that song very often. I felt a little rusty. And she told me about when she first heard the song and how she connected with it, and she's having family troubles, and it really meant something to her, you know. And so I saw her there at that venue, and I was like, I gotta work that song in for her, you know. And so it's cool. Like, that's the kind of connections I was talking about with playing a festival at this level, that's listening room, where when you have that chance to talk and people are, about the song, and people are really listening, they're connecting with you in a much deeper way. And maybe that's why all of this is happening, where you're just like, I can't believe how much we're embraced here. It's like, well, because they know you, you know. Other audiences don't get that same thing, you know. I feel comfortable doing things with them that maybe I don't feel comfortable doing with other people. And I loved hearing that conversation about, you know, his art and the way he approaches things, and the people that you're working with make a difference, you know. So maybe your audience in that case makes a big difference in how you perform.
Submit your stuff, and I got accepted, and then I posted the jewelry store links all over the place, Pandora jewelry store. I sold like 3 tennis bracelets that day.
There are years between us and miles of separate. Past the stains our pictures with time and not erased. We have held our grudges and pretended not to hate all the things that bring us to these troubled days. I don't wanna hear that you are doing fine. I don't need your lines about the last time or the time before. If you don't owe me yours, then I can give you mine. We will both be sorry in the meantime. We don't have a time to try to prove every line. You have got your reasons, so why would you see mine? Who's to pass the judgment? Who will take the blame? All the things that bring us to these troubled days. I don't wanna hear that you are doing fine. I don't need your lines about the last time or the time before. If you don't owe me yours, then I can give you mine. We will both be sorry in the meantime. We can both stay sorry in the meantime. Oh, we will both be sorry in the meantime. There's a sound for you.
Thank you, team.
Yeah, Sunday was awesome. You know, it's kind of a chance for all of us to sort of get together one last time before everybody gets on the road. Unfortunately, everybody can't stay, but those that do stay, we get to kind of hang out with each other and kind of say our goodbyes. And, you know, the funny thing is about this festival, like, I know a lot of the songwriters, but you go through pockets where you're never on stage with somebody that you've been on stage with before. So maybe like that guy, Ben Balmer, last year, I never saw him at all. This year, I only played with him once. My friend Chris Taylor, we met at the first Dripping Springs Festival that I had ever attended, and I think it was his first too, 6 years ago. And we've become really good friends, and he's let me stay with him on tour and stuff. And but you go through these patches where you're not playing with these folks that you know, Wes Collins is another one that I missed this year, and he's a great songwriter I love to see. And you meet new ones, which is nice, you know. But Sunday is kind of great because you can, if they're hanging out long enough, you get that one last chance to see everybody and reconnect a little bit, you know. And then, you know, you saw the audience, the local audience that came out and sat under that big tent most of the day. And, you know, I mean, somebody gave me a fedora. Jim and Emily, just out of nowhere, just was like, he comes up wearing the hat. He says, what size do you wear? What size hat do you wear? I was like, oh, 7 5/8. He's like, I bought this fedora and it just doesn't seem right for me. He's like, you want to try it on? I'm like, okay. I'm like, are you giving me this hat? He's like, if you like it, yeah, it looks good on you. He just gave me a fedora. I was like, what is this place? It's
Something about the people.
it's just the people, they love you. You know, Sean Byrne brought up a story that the Stetson he was wearing, it's a hat thing now, but you know, the Stetson he was wearing is this open road, silver belly open road Stetson hat. And one of the locals sent that to him in the mail after one of the festivals, just got along with Sean so well, loved his music, loved his playing, and just sent him a gift, you know. Jerry, another local, last year his grandkids were there, and I was hanging out with his grandkids and gave them a couple of my paintings. And so Jerry shows up and says hello to me and puts me on a video call with his grandkids. So I get to talk to his grandkids while I'm there, you know. It's that kind of stuff that happens at this festival that, like, I don't know, like, it's crazy to me to be that far away and that not be my hometown, and that kind of love that you get from the people there, you know. And that's a lot with Sundays like that, you know. It's that chance for everyone to catch up at the tail end, you know. And then if you're smart, you stay for the pickers party, and you get to hang out and watch the locals play, and if you're really lucky, they'll let you sit in on a couple tunes.
Did you do that this year?
I did this, yeah. It's kind of a tradition now. It's like I almost can't miss it, and I don't stay to play. I actually stay just to support the locals, you know, and I love hearing them play tunes I'd never heard. A lot of it's bluegrass kind of, you know, and old folk stuff that I'd never heard before. So it's an education for me, you know. That was a blast, and it's always like that for me. And they seem to really appreciate the fact that I stay, and I love doing it. You know, even though it puts me on the road later, it gets me home later than maybe I should. You know, it makes my trip home a little bit touchy as far as like getting back to work and stuff. But if I can do it, I don't want to miss it. You know.
Let's go, Mr. Dillon. Should I see that look in your father's eyes? His only son was born in July. He was 1895. Baby box and boy, father box and prize. Mr. Dillon. His fate is not yours, but you don't care. But he is in his throne, and now his prince is there to carry on his title. Mr. Delaware, let's sing along. Mr. Delaware, feel free to dance. His only steps into the rain. Almost hear his father's heartstrings. Though he longed to be his family's pride and joy, bring himself to sleep. I've heard about some boy, Mr. Delaware. Can you see he's not the same yet? I think he did. It's just that you don't care. As long as there's someone to follow in your footsteps, Mr. Delaware. Oh, Mr. Delaware. At 22 he lost his 105. It was the first time that he saw his full of pride. Now he left where he left his home. They'd be better off without, he'd be better off alone. Mr. Delaware, he days, you went to go shaking. Defeated everywhere, there's no one there. Knows what you